Well, that's something I was asked about earlier in the day, and I think that there is a possibility of a special session dealing with this issue. No conclusion has been reached yet, but I think the first order of business is for us to do everything we can in the present, to do everything possible in order to protect our beaches, protect our fishing industry, and protect our tourism. So that's what our focus is now. We may have an opportunity later next week to address the possibility of a special session and the potential for a constitutional amendment. Chris? Well, it depends. I mean, it's money well spent if we protect our Florida. I mean, other possible scenarios for that were to deal with the potential for public corruption session, the notion of the budget issue. But I think what we do right now is first things first, and that is to address what we're doing here. We'll worry about a session later. Well, as the Secretary described, BP is the quote-unquote responsible party. But I think you can see represented here today that what we need to do is be, as I said earlier, a responsible country, whether it's the federal, state, local level, the Coast Guard, whatever it might be, and BP. And that all of us need to be brought to the bear, all hands on deck, if you will. And I think everybody is trying to do that in the most responsible way possible. And that's what this is about. The law says that BP is a responsible party, that they'll have to make all the claims payments, and I'm sure that they will. And there's a lot of good lawyers who will help us make sure that that occurs. But in addition to that, we've got to be all hands on deck from agencies and the private sector to protect Florida, to protect all the other Gulf states as well. I'm sorry. Well, I remain concerned. I mean, I don't think anybody who had said, like I said, this is the fourth time I've been here. I flew over the affected area Tuesday a week ago. I had the opportunity to do that again earlier this week, and I want to thank the Coast Guard, the National Guard for that. And it's very important to actually be able to see it and understand it and comprehend what's happening on site. And I want to thank the President for taking the time to come to the Gulf Coast. But it remains the same. I'm very concerned. We're all hopeful. But I think we all have to be realistic at the same time. And as we said at the outset, we have to be prepared for the worst, but hope and pray for the very best. And that's exactly what we're doing. Thank you all.
Me? No. No? I don't know whose schedule you're looking at, but that wasn't mine. The cofferdam, it is supposed to start moving into place. My understanding is today, tomorrow, and we should know by the end of the weekend whether it is successful or not. But our plans continue and our work continues unabated, even though that movement is going on. I don't know whether they've started moving under the water quite yet. They have started drilling a relief well. And of course, the coffer dam is only a stopgap measure designed to contain the spill of oil until an actual relief well can be drilled. And that drilling has already begun.
Well, it actually is very targeted, and the areas of the emergency closure were made in consultation with the fisheries managers of the various states and working with the fishing groups. Just finished meeting with some of the affected fishing groups just a few minutes ago, and what they wanted me to highlight is that so much of the rest of the Gulf is actually open, that we're talking about a very small area. But we are adjusting the boundaries of the closure as the oil spill moves around. And again, our utmost concern is making sure that there is no fishing in the affected area or very close by, to give confidence to the American people that the fish that's caught in the other parts of the Gulf is in fact safe to eat. And we'll be adjusting this, and we'll be looking at it at the end of the 10-day period. And of course, so much depends on what happens over the next few days and in the next, in terms of the movement of the current oil, the efforts to cap it, either by trying to make that oil preventer valve activate or the placement of the dome. So all of this is in flux, and right now we're benefiting from good weather. Over the next 72 hours, we do not show, NOAA's forecast do not show the oil hitting, let's say, the shores of Mississippi or Florida.
Secretary Locke, you mentioned that you things for people in the industry. Right now there are outlines for the businesses and to put in their claims. But what about the people who are losing hours on their jobs, people who are losing their jobs because the tourists just aren't coming right now?
Well, that's part of the economic assessment that we're doing and talking with hotel operators, the tourism folks in the tourism industry, the seafood processors, everybody who's involved in the economy of Florida that may be impacted because of the spill. We're getting that data now. We don't want to wait.
Last question.
Well, the financial responsibility is British Petroleum's. And at the end of the day, we are going to make sure that they pay for the costs of cleaning up this spill, protecting this shoreline, and the damages that are being incurred by people and businesses in the Gulf Coast area. At the same time, however, we cannot rely simply on BP. This is a massive effort, as I outlined, in terms of response. Boom, vessels, aircraft, forward operating places with literally thousands of feet of boom and other equipment pre-deployed. And that, of course, is under the unified command. Ultimately, Captain Pullen is here. He's got the command for this sector out of the Coast Guard. Goes to the Area Command, which is Admiral Mary Landry. The National Incident Commander is the Commandant of the Coast Guard, Thad Allen, who reports to the Secretary of Homeland Security and to the President of the United States. The President himself is briefed regularly on the progress that is being made. So there is a unified command that goes all the way up the chain to the President, who is keenly involved in making sure that BP is held responsible, but that we don't hold back on anything waiting for BP to accomplish it.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you all.